to another Monday at 5:55 or 2:55 or 1:55 or wherever you are in the world. I'm just happy that you're here. Today is also Halloween, so if you celebrate that, happy Halloween. I love how all of my Los Angeles friends message me and are like, "Hey, what are your plans for Halloween?" And now that we've moved to Nevada in the suburbs, it's kind of like, well, we are decorating the house in alien attire, and we have alien outfits, and we're giving away candy. So I'm really excited about that. It's just like a different pace, and I kind of love that. Today, we are getting into some potentially triggering topics. So, as always, you guys, if it resonates with you, then it's for you. And if not, then it's not for you at this time. And that is totally okay. But this is a topic that we really, 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 really need to talk about because it's happening. And oddly enough, I've been talking about this on and off for the past 12 years since I originally received this information from the Galactic Federation back in 2011. And thank you, Joe, for that super chat. And so it's a really important topic. And so when I researched before hopping on this video, so I did a little bit of channeling and then I did a little bit of research, and I just kind of wanted some stats. I wanted to see what was going on out there. And really, since 2021, all right, so really just the past year, year and a half, a lot of scientific articles have been starting to be released around the pole shift. This makes me really, really happy, but I still think that it's just not covered enough, you know? And I also think that there could potentially be a really big climate change cover up based on the pole shift as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about why they would choose to cover up something like the pole shift with the rhetoric of climate change. And it doesn't necessarily mean that global warming isn't happening and humanity isn't screwing with our planet completely, but I think there's something so much more going on here, and we need to really understand this in order to best be prepared. So at the end of the video, I'm going to talk to you about what can we do, right? These are all the symptoms. These are, this is kind of what we see happening in the world right now. But then what? What can we do about it? And I really wanted to ask the Galactic Federation about something in particular, basically about how these cosmic radiation energies are affecting the human body. So we're going to hear from the Galactic Federation today as well. And I really, really, really liked what they had to say about this. So yeah, lots and lots of information today. Before we get started, be sure to smash, don't even just hit it, just smash that like button. I kind of love saying that. I hate it because that's like such a YouTuber thing to say, but I kind of love it. Definitely hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And definitely share this video to your own networks or to people who you think would be interested in something like this. It's really just an alternate view on what is potentially happening at this time. I actually relate some of the pole shifting symptoms to also the Book of Revelations and the end times, which was a really fascinating rabbit hole for me to go down, because there was a couple of things when I was channeling what was happening to the planet that really reminded me of the end times in the Book of Revelations. And of course, I was raised Catholic, so there's a couple of things that were triggered there. And before we really kind of get started on the pole shift and all of the facts and the things that you need to know at this time, we do have a really special Galactic Federation meeting happening on 11/11. So it happens on the 11th of every month, but of course this month it lands on November 11th, 2022. So it's going to be extra special. It's going to be a really intense vibration. And with the 11/11 Galactic Federation meeting, you also get an 11/11 guided meditation, and the meditation happened to be 33 minutes and 33 seconds exactly. So I just love the synchronicity there. Didn't plan on it, but it just happened that way. So be aware of that. We're going to talk a lot about health and diet and just kind of how humans can essentially live the best life possible to our highest vibration. And then we're going to get a little bit deeper in the pole shifting as well, and how this is really affecting us at this time. And of course, what we can do to prepare for the energies moving forward into 2023. So lots of stuff happening in this upcoming Galactic Federation Summit. So be aware of that. Two more things. We do have a brand new website launch happening tomorrow morning. So be prepared for that. You are going to see, if you're a member, you're going to see a brand new site. Actually, if anyone goes to the website, you're going to see a brand new site, but especially for the membership, brand new site. We are probably about 95% of the way there. What I recommend is really be patient, and if something is broken or doesn't work, wait a couple of days and most likely we will have our developers fix it. All right, so we're really trying to avoid thousands of emails or hundreds of emails in the first couple of days of the site launch. So please be patient. We have been working on this for 9 months. So this is literally a baby we are about to birth with so much love, so much love. And we've got some really exciting new features for the membership as well. And then we've got our November 1st email being released after the site launch, which is going to be later tomorrow. The reason why I wanted to mention the email, okay, the November 1st email is, we are launching new group session dates. Yes, we have had so many requests for this and they book up extremely fast. And I'm only launching 2 months worth of group sessions. If you don't know what a group session is, basically it's, you get to ask me 2 questions, any questions you want, and I will channel them directly for you. And it's a very small group of 8 people. All right, so just know that we're launching 2 months worth of group sessions, so that's 8 group sessions, and that is only going to be exclusively in the November 1st email. We do not have a wait list. It is first come, first serve, and right now we do not have a time as far as when this email is going to be released because we have to launch the site first. So if you are signed up to get our email blasts, then you're good. You're good to go. You'll get the November 1st email. If you're not, then sign up for the email blast and we'll have our moderators post the links in the chat, live chat. Obviously, if you're watching this on November 2nd or 3rd or 4th, you've probably missed the group session sign up and most likely they are completely booked up. As a matter of fact, they'll probably get booked up in the first couple hours. So just be aware of that. I know you guys really want that, and I'm trying the best I can to service as many people as possible. And that's it. That's all the things. Yeah, lots going on. All right. So let's move on. Okay, I want to give you a couple of facts. This is from my research. This was from, I think it was called scienceforum.com. All right, peer-reviewed article. And I actually got so thrown back into my university days reading all these peer-reviewed articles. And I kind of enjoyed it, you know? Okay, so a couple of facts about the pole shifts. So a total pole reversal is what it's called, has happened 171 times, recorded, after the fact, on planet Earth in the past 71 million years, which I like the 1 and the 7, right? So once again, a total pole reversal has happened 171 times on planet Earth in the past 71 million years, which is, it seems like a lot, but I guess it's it's probably a lot more than any of us really expected. But over 71 million years, it's not a crazy amount. That being said, a lot of scientists right now are saying that we are due at any point in time, we are imminently due at any point in time for another pole shift. I didn't write down this fact, but I'm just remembering it from one of the articles that I read. They were talking about, oh man, I don't even want to butcher the fact. Basically, the poles are already shifting, and they're recording that. And so it was, once again, I'm going to butcher all these. I really wish I wrote this one down. Basically, since the early 2000s, typically it shifts like by like 17 miles every year, but then it started to shift like an uptick in like 55 miles every year since the early 2000s. So the shifting of the poles are actually, it's speeding up, right? And so yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there. Once again, that's a fact that I'm for sure butchering, and I wish I wrote that down, but basically they said that they have been tracking the magnetic poles, and the magnetic poles have been shifting. So during a total pole reversal, which means the north and the south poles completely switch, our magnetic field disappears completely. The magnetic field around planet Earth, it disappears. And sometimes what they've recorded during these other total pole reversals is that it's disappeared for not just a couple months, not even just a couple of years, but sometimes for centuries. Our entire magnetic field disappears for centuries. Yes, I know, it sounds apocalyptic, it definitely sounds doom and gloom, but I have really, really, really good news for you, and you're gonna have to wait for that, but it's coming up in this video, all right? Okay, and then I want to talk about one last fact that I want to bring up here. This is really important, okay? Pole shifts have not historically wiped out all living things. Pole shifts, total pole reversals they have not wiped out all living things. They know this for a fact because things like alligators and sharks have actually survived through these total pole reversals, along with many other species around planet Earth. Okay? It's not all doom and gloom. We definitely can get through this. And I have some other kind of good news that is going to relieve you of like running away and going into a cave right now. All right? Okay, those are just like the scientific facts, a couple of them that I pulled from some peer-reviewed articles. Here are my observations and my channeled understandings of what's going to happen if and when a pole shifts. Okay, so I do want to mention, before we get into the symptoms of pole shift, that back during my very first meeting with the Galactic Federation back on December 21st, 2011, inside the center of the moon, which is crazy, I know, they told me and the whole group that the electromagnetic field around planet Earth was going to shift, and I always mess this up, but I'm pretty sure it was 13 degrees. I always think it's like either 13% or 13 degrees, but it might be even the same thing. So I'm pretty sure it's 13 degrees in our lifetime. So good news number 2. 1, it doesn't destroy all living things. It historically has not. 2, in our lifetime, the poles are only going to shift 13 degrees. Okay? I do believe that that's just in our lifetime, and it's going into an imminent, at some point in time, total pole shift reversal. I just don't think we're going to see that in our life. When they told me that back in 2011, I had no idea what they were talking about. I had no idea there was an electromagnetic field around planet Earth. I didn't know that it could move, but they were very clear about that back then. So I've been thinking about this, I've been observing it, I've been channeling it since 2011. Okay, here are some symptoms of a magnetic pole shift. And we're talking, could be a couple of degrees, and it could be a total pole reversal. These are the symptoms. So solar and cosmic radiation. So as our poles are shifting, our electromagnetic field around planet Earth weakens. It weakens, which basically means that solar radiation, solar flares, solar wind, whatever you want to call it, it can get through our atmosphere a lot easier because it's not being basically repelled by our magnetic field. Likewise, cosmic radiation, which is similar to solar radiation, but sometimes a little bit even more intense, is getting through our atmosphere, it's getting through our electromagnetic field, and it's hitting the planet. What does this result in? It results in multiple things, all right? This solar and cosmic radiation. First of all, it results in Schumann resonance spikes. Two of the contributing factors to a spiking Schumann resonance is lightning and solar radiation, solar flares. And so we see it right now that the Schumann resonance is off the charts. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, of course, with solar and cosmic radiation, it could totally shut down, if not wipe out our total, like our power grid around planet Earth. We've probably heard that before, and I've heard from a lot of articles and scientists that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when this happens, and we're just not prepared for it. I did have a download the other day, which I thought was really, really cool. I think I was just driving and I had this thought that came through that if I'm just going to like plant a seed. This is really not part of the video, but if our power grid were to be wiped out, whether it be throughout every country of the planet or maybe in just one country, I think the most immediate solution would be to bring back Nikola Tesla technology. We had it before. The Great Pyramids are Tesla technology, which is not really Tesla technology because he can't own that. But I really do believe that we're getting to a place where that is going to be the solution. And when our power lines and our power systems fail, that is going to be the easiest thing that we've done many, many times before. It's going to be a solution. So just know that yeah, things are collapsing, but they're collapsing for a reason, in my opinion. Okay. Also, meteors and cosmic particles can and do get in when our electromagnetic field is weakened or shut down completely. Now, also, and this came through from one of these peer-reviewed articles, solar and cosmic radiation can create cancers in our body. And what they said was genetic mutations. And I thought this was really fascinating, these genetic mutations. And I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense, right? If you're exposed to a large amount of radiation, no matter where it comes from, it could come from a UFO, it could come from your microwave, it could come from an X-ray machine, or maybe you're an electrician and you're just exposed to that more often. Those people are more susceptible to having cancers in your body. So, I had a question for the Galactic Federation, and this is why I channeled them for this video. So when I heard the words genetic mutations, I immediately thought to myself, well, human beings are genetically mutated. From my belief, our evolution as a species was partly, due to them coming down, splicing their DNA with ours many times over throughout many, many years, throughout many different species. So my question to the Galactic Federation is, if we have an uptick in cosmic and solar radiation, and yeah, it could absolutely create cancers in our body, then don't we have different cosmic DNA that could maybe help us or prevent this from creating cancers in our body? Basically, how does our cosmic DNA come into play with this? Because if you think about interdimensional beings who have given us their DNA throughout humanity's evolution, they're up there. They're out there. The majority of those species don't even live on planets anymore. They live on spaceships, which are full of radiation. They're exposed constantly to cosmic and solar radiation. So if we have their DNA and they're evolved to live in space and they're evolved to handle a certain amount of radiation, then what does that mean for us? So here's their answer. All right. Okay. The first thing that they mentioned, which I didn't even ask about, but I freaking love that they told me about this, and specifically who I talked to was the Pleiadian Security Council. So the first thing that they mentioned was, By the time we have zero electromagnetic defenses, we will be joined by the Galactic Federation. And I'm going to expand on this a little bit because they gave me a visual of this. So, like I said, in our lifetime, we're probably going to see the poles shift about 13%, all right? Which is still going to have an incredible effect on the whole planet and us, as it is already. But basically, what the Galactic Federation told me is by the time where we're shifting completely, like a complete 360 or 180, I guess, like total pole reversal, and our whole electromagnetic fences are down, and it could be for centuries, we are going to be fully awakened, fully well aware that there is a community or an organization called the Galactic Federation. We will consciously, as a species, as a humanity, decide to join the Galactic Federation. And at that point in time, they have the technology to help us with that defense system. As a matter of fact, poles shift, electromagnetic energy shifts all the time on many different planets all across the universe. And so what these higher evolved species do is they basically, it sounds so like, I don't know, Star Trek or Star Wars, but they create their own electromagnetic field around their planet. It is kind of like a man-made or an alien-made technology that helps to once again recreate or divert some of the radiation and other things to the planet. Once again, I didn't even ask about that question, but they brought it up, and just like anything with channeling, it resonated with me immediately. So I knew that that information aligned to me. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that's totally okay too. And then I had a follow-up question for them because I'm like, what are you saying? We're not already joined with you, right? Because they said at the point when you are, when there is a whole total reversal, we'll be joined together, right? Like you guys will be a part of our organization and we can help you at that point. So then my follow-up question was like, but we're not already joined? Like, I'm confused. And the Galactic Federation said, no, at this point in time, humanity, human beings, planet Earth are not a part of the Galactic Federation. And then I got into this whole conversation of like, well, why is that? I said, I thought you guys were helping us. And they said, we can only help to a certain extent because the law of non-intervention. And they said, you as a collective need to be not only aware of species outside of your own, but then you need to make a collective decision that that's the direction that you want to go. It's kind of like a country deciding to join the UN. It has to be agreed upon by the majority of the parties involved. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So we're not actually a part of the Galactic Federation at this point. And that's why they have to incarnate as human beings in order to help us, because a lot of us refuse to help ourselves, all right? I thought that was fascinating. It was just like such an interesting conversation. Okay, getting back to my original question about genetic mutations and how that all works. Here's what they said. Oh yeah, this was really fascinating. Okay, I didn't expect this. This is what they said. Conscious awareness and vibrational control will help you individually manage these radiations. I'm going to repeat this. Conscious awareness and vibrational control will help you individually manage these radiations. So then I said, okay, how? And they said, through practices like meditation, Tai Chi, moving energy, Reiki, and other tools. For example, crystals, organite. But they said ultimately, we are the best tool to do this. And they compared it to EMFs. So I'm sure that if you're in this community, you know fully well aware of the 5G towers and the Wi-Fi like literally the radiation that's all around us. So I was taught many years ago how to deflect EMF radiation from my body. And we can do this just by pushing out the energy and making sure that that negative radiation does not affect us at our core. And we just do this through conscious awareness. Now, yeah, of course, you can wear orgonite or crystals or, other kind of devices. But it was really cool because the Galactic Federation of the Security Council was saying how a lot of us star seeds have been really drawn to these energy practices, meditation, so controlling our mind, and Tai Chi, moving our energy. Also, Reiki. A lot of people are like, I'm a Reiki master, but I've never done anything with it. And a big part of that is because we're learning how to control our energy. We're learning how to move our energy. Yes, get rid of toxins from our body, but also make sure that electromagnetic frequency and radiation, like solar radiation and cosmic radiation, do not affect us negatively. And this really reminds me of many, many years ago. I used to like sunbathe, right? And I was maybe 18, 19 years old. And this is when I first got introduced to the Galactic Federation. And I'd be out in the sun, and then someone's like, wow, you better like be careful because you're gonna get skin cancer if you do that too much. And I was like, oh my goodness, oh no. And then I learned that I could actually let only the good parts, so let's say vitamin D, in from the sun to help my whatever, let the vitamins in, but I could actually prevent, push out any of the negative effects of the sun. And every time I'm in the sun, anytime I feel my skin getting hot, I always do that. I always bring my conscious awareness around to the fact that I'm only letting in the positive and I'm getting rid of the negative. And that's it, you guys. It's that easy, right? Remember, what we focus on, what we believe, creates our entire reality. So we need to understand and believe that we are energy beings. We are being affected by the energy around us, not just in our own houses and our neighborhoods and our work environments and things like that, but in the entire universe. We're being affected. And we have the control around that. And so really what the Galactic Federation was saying is, conscious awareness and vibrational control will help you individually manage these radiations. And that's it. And what's really cool about things like the Schumann resonance spiking and even solar and cosmic radiation is it increases our spiritual awareness. It increases our consciousness, which is the positive upside of it, right? And it also makes us really freaking tired and drained and all the other things and headaches and things like that as well. We can manage this. This is what they're saying. I thought that was just so beautiful. And like I said, going back to the symptoms of a magnetic pole shift, it creates spikes in spiritual awakening. It really does. It creates spikes in, we're getting now hit, right? Our electromagnetic defenses around the planet are weakened. The veil is weakened, which means that we're getting a hit with more energy. It's really what it comes down to. In layman's terms, we are getting hit with more energy. We are energy beings. If we get hit with more energy, then we are raising to new energetic heights and energetic levels. If we as a human being fight the energy that we are getting hit with and we are determined to stay physical and want to be physical beings, then our body is going to reject the energy that we're getting hit with, and therefore the radiation is going to affect us in a negative way. And I think we all know those people who are negative people, and life is victim, and they're getting affected by these energies, and things are getting worse and worse, and they're getting more and more negative, and so on and so forth. And hopefully you're feeling better. You're feeling more calm, more relaxed, more validated. You're manifesting more. You're creating your reality more, and those kind of things. You're waking up to the truth more. You're choosing neutrality over fear or love, right? Like those are the things that really matter. Okay, back to the symptoms of the magnetic pole shift around planet Earth. The other thing that I've been observing really, really a lot in, it's like terrible grammar, a lot in the past couple years is animals traveling off migration patterns. It is so clear that this has been happening. We've had many incidences of beached whales, unfortunately, and even beached dolphins and sharks. And then we've also had a lot of birds just traveling the wrong way or misinterpreting their migration patterns because pretty much all life on planet Earth feels this pull of the magnetic frequency, and they live their entire life through that magnetic pull. Or frequency, right? So that can be a really big issue. And one of the things that just recently happened in 2022 is I think they ended the crab fishing, because they said billions of crabs have gone missing. And I know that they're just following a different migratory pattern. So they haven't gone missing, they haven't disappeared. UFOs haven't abducted billions of crabs. They're just taking a different route than they ever have before in recorded history. And this is what we're going to continue to see over and over and over again moving into this pole shift. Also, as we all know, weather extremes. We're seeing flooding, we're seeing mudslides, we're seeing fires, we're seeing really, really hot conditions where there shouldn't be. We're seeing really, really cold conditions where there shouldn't be or shouldn't be. Also another big symptom of a pole shift is superstorms. We're seeing this, and what creates a superstorm is basically the way that the weather patterns move, and they move based on the electromagnetic frequencies of the planet. And if all of a sudden the frequencies of the planet are flipping, these storms and the weather patterns are flipping, and they're creating these massive superstorms that we've never seen before. And then, of course, the last thing is the ocean tides, right? I mean, of course, the tides are connected to the moon, but the ocean tides are also connected to electromagnetic frequency. So not only do we see the ice caps melting, which is a big part of just things warming up where, they shouldn't warm up, basically, or shouldn't warm up based on our previous pole alignment, but we're also seeing basically the tides changing. And yes, we do have weather manipulation, and that's absolutely a thing, and I've definitely looked at things like HAARP and other weather manipulation from the government. Yeah, but also we need to realize that the poles are shifting. So let's talk about climate change, right? Just really briefly here. We have been fed, it hasn't even been given to us. We have been fed this rhetoric of climate change. And really from the beginning, I remember, I think it was like Al Gore, I don't know, I was like in freaking elementary school or something. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, climate change, this is a really scary thing. Once again, or global warming, right? Once again, human beings are destroying the planet. Like, no word of a lie. We are deforesting. We are extracting resources where we shouldn't. It just pains my soul what we are doing to the planet, and that is not healthy or good. We're mass farming. It's just not good, right? But that being said, I really do think that this whole global warming, climate change focus is really distracting humanity away from what also is happening, which is the pole shift. So then my next question is, why would the governments distract us from the pole shift, from something like a pole shift? I think there's a couple reasons. This is just speculation. This is not channeling or any sort of peer-reviewed research. My speculation is they have been distracting us from the truth of the pole shift, and now we're finally starting to see these articles appear in the past couple of years about a pole shift. No one's really talking about it on mainstream news. I mean, but the reason why I think is, one, there's really, really big business in climate change and global warming. Two, like everything, there's big business. But two, I think they maybe think that there would be mass hysteria. And three, I think that maybe they're worried about like immigration issues and people leaving different countries. Like, if it all of a sudden came out and say, hey, you know what? Like, we're going into a pole shift, and that means all of these things are going to happen, then people are going to freak out, and maybe they're going to hold their money, or, it could lead us to an economic recession, which we're going into anyway. No thanks to them. So I think that they're trying to avoid maybe mass hysteria. They're trying to keep us in the dark, and they're trying to avoid people moving, maybe moving away from big cities, maybe moving away from certain countries. I'm not sure what their reasoning is, but it's clear that they're just not talking about it, and they're clearly well aware that this is happening. So, advice. Okay, so one more thing. I do want to say that one of the things when I was doing this research and doing this channeling that came up was in one of the end time, I don't know if it was like end time predictions or if it was like a Disney movie that I watched about Egypt, back in the day, but like, the locusts like eating all the crops and things like that, like all, and like huge meteor strikes, like fire coming down from the sky. Like there's all these end time predictions. And when you take a look at the religious biblical end time predictions in the book of Revelations, and then you also take a look at the medieval end time predictions, which is not religious at all, it's kind of all the same thing, mass earthquakes and flooding and wars and things like that that are all happening right now, which is it's just a curious point. It's like, has it really just always been a pole shift? And I think the pole shift is leading us to a great awakening. But at the same time, what do we do about this? Because, the weather is acting weird. Things are getting kind of bad environmentally. And like I said, if it's a pole shift, there isn't much we can do at an individual or country level to prevent it. So what do we do? Here's my advice. And of course, before I get to my advice, because this is my last point here, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something new. Share the video to friends and family if you think it could help them. And definitely subscribe to the channel. If you have not subscribed already, definitely also check out my Instagram page, which is @elizabeth.april, for just more updates and kind of more of my personal life stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, and then join us for the 11/11 Galactic Federation meeting where we're going to dive into this a lot more, and we're going to talk about things like health and disease and diet and other things that we can do to really prepare ourselves for the energies changing, especially for the end of this year and moving into 2023. Okay? All right, so here's my advice. Please take this advice with a grain of salt. I don't want you to just like freak out, pack up all your things, and like say, oh my God, EA told me to do this. As always, question everything, work with your own intuition, see what resonates with you, and most likely, energetically, you're already getting a call to make a move. All right? So, my first piece of advice is live in higher ground. Live in higher ground. There are a surprising amount of countries, places, states that are actually either at or below sea level. Even if you are 5 feet above sea level, I recommend that. For me, I just made 2 really big moves, and in one place, I'm 1,800 feet above sea level, and in the other place, I'm 1,400 feet above sea level. You don't have to go that extreme, and I'm not living on top of a mountain, FYI. I'm living in a flat place, but it just happens to be above sea level. So I just recommend live in higher ground, understand the location that you live in, and understand, like, unfortunately, Amsterdam is, if not at sea level, below sea level. I didn't know that Amsterdam was that low. And that's a little disconcerting. And I know that there's been technology to prevent any sort of flooding and things like that, not to mention Italy and Venice. Just understand your location, understand where you live in the world, and understand what kind of sea level range you're at. Because it is quite possible in our lifetime that the sea will rise. Even a foot could be absolutely devastating for some coastal areas, okay? I also recommend living away from the fault lines. I know I have a huge community in California, especially in Los Angeles, so I'm sorry to have to say this, but I have not predicted or seen, say, for example, the San Andreas Fault going anytime soon or in our lifetime, but just because of the shifting electromagnetic fields, it can also shift the Earth's crust, and it can create some earthquakes. So, like I said, don't be in fear. Don't pack up and run away. Listen to your intuition. Your gut will guide you. Set the intention that you want to be in a place that's sustainable and stable and helpful for not just you, but future generations. Okay? And then the last thing that I want to mention, and I've mentioned this before, you guys know that I'm a bit of a prepper, and I always have been really since my first Galactic Federation meeting, because they told me back in 2011, when shit was pretty chill, okay, compared to now, that like shit's about to go down. So I'm like, all right, cool. I live in a tiny ass apartment, but I'm gonna get a box and I'm gonna get some food and I'm gonna store this food away. And that's what I've done ever since then. So it doesn't matter where you live, if you live in a city, just have a little bit of food and water available to you. And if you want a more in-depth list of what I recommend as far as survival items, like easy, cheap, accessible, Amazon survival items, I do have a survival list on Amazon, and that's going to be in the description of this video if you want to check it out. Like I said, they're not expensive things, they're not going to break the bank, but just in case, you have that. And I would rather you guys be safe than sorry. And I know that my Canadian accent just came out with the sorry. But yeah, I just wanted to put it out there because for me anyway, I don't hold any fear whatsoever because I feel prepared. I feel like my family and myself and my wife were taken care of. And because of that, I can live easy, at this point in time. So that's just what I recommend. I want you guys to be in that love frequency so that we can create the best possible transition for humanity. And that's it. That was such an important video. And I hope that you guys really resonated with that. And if not, no big deal. I just want to share some information and make sure that everyone is kept informed, including myself. So I hope that this was helpful. And I hope to see all of you on November 11th. And other than that, yeah, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy Halloween. And as always, we will see you in the fifth dimension frequency.